And Taylor Ray. And then Taylor Ray needs to leave us quickly at 8:30 as well. So let's get started.
I need to leave at 7:30.
7:30?
No, just kidding. Just kidding.
All righty. Heather is going to do us and bless us with an invocation. So take it away, Heather.
All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us the technology to be able to meet tonight. I'm also grateful for everybody's help, and I'm hoping that everybody will be on the mend so that we can in person soon. Please let us make great decisions tonight that please you, and we thank you for our many blessings. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Heather. All right. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Aaron, you got a flag for us? There we go. All righty. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All righty, I'll call the meeting to order, and first up is public comments. Does anybody see anybody? Aaron, do you see anybody?
No, sir. No one has let me know ahead of time, but if there's anyone on the meeting that would like to give public comment, please just unmute yourselves now and let the mayor know.
Yeah, I don't see anybody on here, so we'll go ahead and skip to that. Next up is our agenda approval. Any additions or deletions, amendments for the agenda? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the written agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Scholl, second by Mr. Richardson, in favor of approving the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. And next up, we're on the consent agenda. Does everybody, usually the consent agendas are approving minutes and things like this. Do we have any, does anybody need to see any documents on the fee schedule and the ordinance adopting supplement 12?
Nope.
Does anybody need to see that?
Mayor, I move approval of the consent agenda.
All right.
Second.
All right. Motion by Mr. Richardson, second by Mr. Ayers to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the ayes have it. Both of them are approved. So next up is our text 21.12.01, 21.12.02, 21.12.03. And then I'll open the public hearing and turn it over to Max.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen real quick. 1 second. My presentation disappeared. Sorry. Okay, there it goes. Okay. All right. So in the memo I sent for the text amendments and the ordinance changes, I went into great detail. So I made this presentation to give you guys an overview of what was in the memo. Before you today is TX 21.12.01, 02, 03, Code of Ordinance changes 32.10B1, and Board of Adjustment Rules of Procedure 5.2D. So the request are 5 amendments for Planning Board and Board of Adjustment membership consistency. You have 3 text amendments, 1 Code of Ordinance change, and 1 Board of Adjustment Rules of Procedure change. Each of these text amendments will require a vote, and each will require a statement of consistency and reasonableness. TX 21.12.01 amends the Planning Board membership number. 02 amends the Planning Board alternate membership appointments and duties. 03 amends Board of Adjustment membership number. The Code of Ordinance change amends the Board of Adjustment membership number, consistency and duties. And Board of Adjustment Rules of Procedure 5.2D amends Board of Adjustment membership number. I know I said a lot, but they all kind of do very similar things. And they all kind of coincide together. So history on this. So the Stallings Development Ordinance was adopted in 2018. Planning board membership 4.2-2 stated the board consisted of 9 members, but did not reference alternates. This change was inconsistent with town practices and other adopted ordinances. So this was decided that this change was not the original intent of the ordinance. So council directed staff to investigate changing the ordinance and creating consistency between them. I did some staff municipality research. As you can see, the town of Matthews has 7 regular, 2 alternate members for planning board. For Board of Adjustments, 5 regular, 2 alternates, but they are separate boards. And In-Trail has 7 regular for both, no alternates, but they are separate boards. Waxhaw, 7 regular, no alternates for planning board, 5 regular, 2 alternates for Board of Adjustments, and they are combined like Stallings. Weddington has 7 regular, no alternates for planning board, 5 regular, 2 alternates for Board of Adjustments, and they are combined like Stallings. And Mill Hill does things a little bit differently, but I want to go into great detail about them. So currently we have 5 regular members and 1 alternate. We have 2 vacant seats. So our chair is Mr. Bob Reagan and our vice chair is Robert Kohler. They were voted last week at the planning board meeting as chair and vice chair. And also Mr. Barnes, Ms. Wilson, and Ms. Craver have terms expiring in March, all 3 of them. And then we have 1 vacant regular seat, 2 vacant regular seats. Our first alternate is vacant, and our second alternate is Miss Lori. Her term also expires in March. She's been serving as a regular member since we have 2 vacant seats. I don't think there's been a time where we had no vacancies. She's been attending every planning board meeting. So our first text amendment is TX 21.12.01. It changed to change the STO 4.2-2 to read as follows. Number of members, the planning board shall consist of 9 members consisting of 7 full members and 2 alternate members. All full members shall have equal rights, privileges, and duties, except as defined for officers by adopted rules of procedure. So this just amends the planning board membership from 9 to 7 regular and 2 alternates. It doesn't state that in the ordinance. And staff suggests this alternate for staffing, quorum, and voting purposes. To change the membership to a regular membership and no alternates, it will change the quorum. So with this ordinance, a quorum will be 4, with alternates being able to fill seats under a vacancy. So planning board also currently has vacant seats and has difficulty recruiting members. This allows alternates to flexibility to attend those meetings. And this ordinance change, if this is approved or altered or amended, it will affect all the other ordinances after it. So I recommend making an action vote for it now with the statement of consistency or reasonableness, and before I go on to the other text amendments and ordinance changes.
All righty. Thank you, Max. Any comments from, well, it's a public hearing. Any member of the public here to comment? All right. Any discussion among the questions among the council?
I got a question for Max.
Yeah.
Max, it went kind of quick. Are we the only town that has terms on our memberships?
I didn't look at terms throughout the members, but I do think all the other jurisdictions would have term limits. I just came from Waxhaw. I worked there for 3 years, and each planning board member and Board of Adjustment members had terms according to 160D state statute. So I believe that all of them should, but I can't confirm that.
All right. Thank you, David. Any other questions for Max or any discussion? All right. What's the pleasure of the council?
I have another point if no one else has got one.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
We have the ability to appoint members to the board, but we don't have the ability to take one off should the need arise without changing the ordinance. Is that something we would want to be able to consider. Otherwise, once we appoint, they're on for the duration of their term.
I'd like to comment if that's okay.
Sure, Max.
So the other text amendments, I think the next text amendment has to do with alternate duties. And that allows the council to appoint members as alternates, and it affects their appointments and duties. So the council would, and that next text amendment is where you would discuss how the council would like to do that. This one is just for numbers strictly.
I'll make a motion on this. I think the numbers are right for a town of our size. I don't think we need to grow to 9.
Okay.
So I'll move to approve text amendment TX 21.12.01 as written, adding changing the number of members to be 7 full-time members and 2 alternate members, with all full-time members having equal rights and privileges except for those defined below.
All righty. Got a
I'll
motion?
second it.
Who was that? Stephen?
That was Graham.
Graham. Thank you, Graham. I got a motion by Mr. Richardson, a second by Mr. Hall to in favor of text amendment 21.12.01. Aaron, could you read, do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. District 1 Hall,
Aye.
District 2 Shoal,
No,
District 3 Drake,
Aye.
District 4 Grooms,
Aye.
District 5 Ayers,
Aye.
District 6 Richardson.
All right, motion passes 5-1 with Mr. Scholl dissenting. All righty, and the statement of consistency and reasonableness is I'll read it real quick. The request is consistent with comprehensive plan and future planning goals of the town of Stallings and is reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The proposed text amendment creates consistency with the town adopted policies and procedures. Is there a page 2, Max?
No, I can pull up the main statement of consistency. I can't even say it. Of reasonableness.
If this one's fine,
This should be sufficient. There's the document where you sign. We usually
Right.
pull that one up, but I put it in the presentation.
yeah. If this is okay, Alex, you okay with just this?
you're muted, Alex.
Yes, sir. That would be sufficient.
Okay, so can I get a motion on the statement of consistency?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Ayers, second by Ms. Grooms. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, ayes have it. All righty.
Okay, well, I'll move on to the next text amendment. This is TX 21.12.02. It amends SDO 4.2-2. It's right under that previous amendment we just made. This one states B, alternates. The town council may, in its discretion, appoint alternate members to serve on the planning board in the absence or temporary disqualification of any regular member or to fill a vacancy pending appointment of a member. Alternate members shall be appointed for the same term simultaneously and in the same manner as regular members. Each alternate member, while attending any regular or special meetings of the board and serving on behalf of any regular member, shall have and may exercise all the powers and duties of a regular member. So this amends alternate membership and appointments. And this language is directly out of 160D and our ordinance for Board of Adjustments. I just changed the language to say planning board instead of Board of Adjustments so that we could have alternate appointments for it.
All righty, thank you, Max. Any discussion or questions?
I have a question. So this would move Lori into a permanent seat. Well, obviously her term is up soon, but you know what I mean? Like it would move the alternate up to the vacant seat.
No, this would not. This would, at town council's discretion, appoint alternates. So at I could bring it at any council meeting, let's say there's a vacancy, which there are, I'll just have an item on the agenda saying, I'd like to request Lori to be moved up to one of the vacant regular seats. And you would do that at one of the regular council meetings. This gives you the authority to do that. They don't automatically move up with this, but they will attend meetings as a regular member with a vacant seat. Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yes, so then we just would appoint her.
Correct.
Right, and so we're gonna do that. We're gonna amend the rules. I should have added that to the agenda, but we're gonna amend the rules and vote on that tonight. Heather?
Okay,
Yeah. So alternate, if they were to move automatically, that would be, I would request that not being the ordinance. So that would be a town policy in the code of ordinance decision.
okay.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, it's still a public hearing. Any member of the public on that would like to make a comment? All right, hearing none, what's the pleasure of the council?
Mayor, I'll move approval of text amendment 21.02.02, changing the SDO 4.22 to read as follows. With regard to alternates, do I need to read that or?
No, Max already read it into the record. All right, got a motion from Mr. Richardson,
I'll second. I'll second.
second by Mr. Ayers. Aaron, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. District 1, Hall.
Aye.
District 2, Shoal.
No.
District 3, Drake.
Aye.
District 4, Grooms.
Aye.
District 5, Ayers.
Aye.
District 6, Richardson.
Aye.
All righty, sorry about that. The ayes have it with Mr. Scholl dissenting. I'll read the statement of consistency. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future planning goals of the town of Stallings and is reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The proposed text amendment creates consistency with the town's adopted policies and procedures. Can I get a motion, please?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion
I'll
by
second.
motion by Ms. Groom, second by Mr. Ayers. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, ayes have it unanimously. All right, thank you. All right, number 3.
Right. So text amendment 3 is a SDO change 4.3-2A to read as follows. The Board of Adjustments shall consist of 9 members, consisting of 7 full members and 2 alternate members. All full members shall have equal rights, privileges, and duties except as defined for his officers of defined rules of procedure. So this amends the Board of Adjustment membership number. And this creates consistency because the Planning Board and Board of Adjustments are the same people. It's a combined board. This language is consistent with the first text amendment now as well. And have any questions?
All right, any questions? Thank you, Max. Any questions or discussion? So as you said there, the planning board and B of A are combined. So there'll be some members of the planning board and could be the alternates or could be a full member. Or is it the same? Yes,
It would be the same.
It'd be the same. Okay. All right, any questions? Can I hear a motion?
Mayor, I'll move approval for this text amendment as well. Text amendment 21.02.03 to change the SDO as Max has outlined regarding the Planning Board of Adjustments.
All right, thank you. Second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Richardson and a second by Mr. Ayers to approve text amendment 21.12.03. Aaron, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. District 1, Hall.
Aye.
District 2, Shoal.
Aye.
District 3, Drake.
Aye.
District 4, Grooms.
Aye.
District 5, Ayers.
Aye.
District 6, Richardson.
All right, that's unanimous, 6-0. Thank y'all. Thank you, Max. And The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future planning goals of the town of Stallings and is reasonable and in public interest for the following reasons. The proposed text amendment creates consistency with the town's adopted policies and procedures. All right, can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ayers,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Grooms. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, the ayes have it unanimous. All right.
Aye.
Thank you, Mac.
Okay, so this is the Code of Ordinance Change 32.10B1. I also have another document I'll pull up after I present this slide. So the suggested ordinance resolution reads, 1, membership. The Board of Adjustments shall consist of 9 members, consisting of 7 full members and 2 alternate members. All full members shall have equal rights, privileges, and duties, except as defined for officers by adopted rules of procedure. So this amendment in the Code of Ordinance does the same as the other text amendment. It adjusts the membership number and makes everything consistent. And then I'm going to share my screen to another document. 1 second.
And Wyatt, I have a question on this one when we get a chance.
All right.
Okay, so this is they're required by statute. So you could read in the records for the chapter 32 departments, boards and committees and commissions, section 32.10 boards required by statute. So this is the language. It is all change. The only thing that's changed is highlighted below. We're adding this exact language right here in this. So I'm going to bring it back. If this is sufficient to show, Aaron, I'm going to just interrupt me. I'm going to show my presentation again. We just needed to show that.
Yes, we just wanted the board to make sure you saw that it was reduced to writing, and that's the same document that you received today via email. It's the same information that Max is sharing with you. It's just reduced to an ordinance amendment.
Got it.
Okay, and the action is only a vote. You don't have to do a consistency statement for this one.
All right. Thank you, Max. All right. Any questions or discussion?
Mayor, I'll move approval. Oh, go ahead.
Stephen?
Yeah,
Steve.
I had a kind of so help me understand slightly. Typically in official documents, you typically don't like to repeat things that are the same across multiple documents. You typically like to refer back to one or the other as a kind of that's where it's dedicated to. So, my question here is why do we have to replicate this information? Why isn't one of them kind of the standard and we reflect back to that standard? It seems to me like this potentially opens us up for, we're going through a process now to make this all consistent, and yet we're kind of doing it in a way that kind of feels like could open us up for potentially more inconsistencies in the future if some of these might change if we're not careful. So that's just my general question, is why is it one of these kind of the rule and the other ones reflect or just simply refer back to the original document?
Yeah, so the Stallings Development Ordinance does reference Code of Ordinances, but if we were to just say in the ordinance reference the Code of Ordinances and the Development Ordinance, it would require a major edit to that section instead of just changing a paragraph. We could still do that, but we already approved those other text amendments. So if there is a change in the future, we would have to consider all of these at the same time as well, like this.
Okay, it's just something to consider in the fact that, I know just in my 2 years being here, it's burned us because we've had things over in one document and another document and another document. And to some degree, again, that's the reason why we're going through the effort now. I'm just wondering whether or not it makes sense at some point to make references, have a standard document or there's a word I'm missing here, but a kind of one document where we point back to, so that if we ever have any question, it's always in that one document instead of potentially, over 3 documents where it could get out of sync again in the future. Just a question and thought for the future.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Any other questions, discussion on that point?
And Mayor, I'll move change code of ordinances 32.10B subsection 1 to read as follows. And Max says up on the screen. So,
All right. Motion by Mr. Richardson. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayers. Aaron, could you do a roll call, please?
District 1, Hall.
Aye.
District 2, Shoal. Mr. Shoal, I think you were muted.
Aye.
District 3, Drake.
Aye.
District 4, Grooms.
Aye.
District 5, Ayers.
Aye.
District 6, Richardson.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank y'all. All right, next up is 52D.
So this is in the Board of Adjustment Rules of Procedure. This is our last one. So we're getting through it. So this is a change in the Board of Adjustment Rules of Procedure 2D, membership officers and duties to read as follows. Members of the board shall be appointed for designated terms by the Stallings Town Council. The board shall consist of 9 members, consisting of 7 full members and 2 alternates. This is amending the Board of Adjustment membership to be consistent with all the other text amendments that we just adopted, and also the ordinance change. And this, just mentioning Mr. Ayers' point, this was already, all these alternate and regular members are all in the ordinances, so we would have had to amend all of them anyways. That's it.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you, Max. Any discussion, questions?
Sorry, Max. It was just that usually it's beat into us that
Okay.
we try to have a system of record for that document, for that particular information, and we pull from that. So it's just kind of how I thought about it.
All righty, what's the pleasure of the board?
I'll do it again. I'll move approval of suggested Board of Adjustment Rules of Procedure resolution as written. Let me know if I need to read it out, but yeah, thank you.
All right, motion by Mr. Richardson. I believe I heard Mr. Hall make a second to approve Rules of Procedure 5.2D. Aaron, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. District 1, Hall.
Aye.
District 2, Shoal. Mr. Shaw, I believe you were muted.
Well, I'm on a roll tonight. Aye.
It's okay. District 3, Drake.
Aye.
District 4, Grooms.
Aye.
District 5, Ayers.
Aye.
District 6, Richardson.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank you. All right, thank you, Max.
Thank you.
All righty, I'll close the public hearing. Oh, well, the public hearing was closed, so we'll just move on with the council vote. Next up is the Police Department incentive pay. So Chief, are you on the call?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm going to share my screen with everyone.
Mayor, while he's pulling up his presentation, were you going to add another item to the planning board, or is that at the end? Are you going to? I thought I heard you say something that you want to add.
Yeah, we're gonna add, let's just add it at the end or right after the
Okay.
Chief's thing. Yeah, thank you for that reminder, Brad. Yeah.
All right. Again, good evening, everyone. I know I've been in front of you here the past couple meetings, but we've got some updates and some changes to this plan, and I want to bring it back tonight to you, hopefully for approval. So just a short, real quick recap. The Great Resignation, a large number of people have walked away from the job. Stallings Police has not been immune to this. We still have 12 12.5% of our vacancies, of our positions unfilled. We currently have 3 vacancies. We've had 29% of the department leave since the beginning of the pandemic. Again, 12% left the field totally, 17% left for other agencies. So we analyzed that. Again, Karen Williams and HR did stay and exit interviews, and we were able to determine that officers were not leaving for workplace reasons, but were leaving for monetary reasons. We've utilized this 2019 Matthews Police Department study that showed Stallings Police Department ranked 6th out of 17 municipalities for starting pay, but that's kind of where it stopped. We had no incentives post-hire. So one of the things we looked at is what do we do to retain and recruit quality officers? And what we did was we put together a work group of officers made up of all ranks throughout the department. And they came up with a list of things that they thought fit within the incentive, the town's training and certification policy that would provide higher levels of service to the town and help continue to develop the Stallings Police Department. So using that Matthews study, we looked at the incentives, and these are the basis for the incentives. 15 out of the 17 departments in that study offered incentive for bilingual, 12 of 17 offered incentive for a college degree, 10 of 17 for having your intermediate or advanced certificate through the North Carolina Department of Justice, 6 of the 17 for field training. And I'm sure you've all heard me say in the last couple of meetings, that's one of the most important positions in the department. Those field training officers are teaching and bringing up those new officers and how we here in Stallings, how we expect them to do their job, how we expect them to perform for the community. And then 3 of the 17 departments offer an incentive for living within the corporate limits of their municipality. But the education incentive, Alex and I have spoken. I know there were some comments at the last meeting and some comments with the manager. So I wanted to kind of break that down a little bit just to show you what those are surrounding our competition, surrounding departments do for education. Mint Hill is a cumulative 5, 10, and 15% for a master's degree, 5% for associates. Charlotte Police, Mecklenburg County Sheriff, and Davidson do 5 and 10% for an associate's and a bachelor's. Cornelius, 2.5 for an associate's, 5 for a bachelor's, 7.5 for a master's. As you can see down here, Mooresville does 2.5, 2.5. Concord and Salisbury do a one-time, 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000, depending on the degree level. And then Pineville just hires their officers in at a higher pay grade based on their degree level. So some of the research out there shows, this Crime and Justice is an annual journal from 2007. The 2015 President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing and a 2020 University of Iowa study showed that officers with degrees less likely to use force, higher focus on problem-oriented policing, and can better relate to the community. Really, when it comes to the education piece, we're looking at how does that degree, I feel, makes a more well-rounded officer. They've had different experiences. It shows the commitment and dedication to go through a program and finish it and complete it. So with that, this chart we did, and I didn't highlight it, but you can see there we made a couple changes, again, based on council feedback after talking to the manager. I'm going to go through the education piece first, but associate's degree, we'd like to offer a $1,200 incentive, a bachelor's degree, an additional $1,200 incentive. And then if one has a master's degree, an additional $1,200 incentive, but that would only be if they have a master's degree in criminal justice or a public administration related field. And we didn't want to get too deep in that because it was, you could get someone that comes in with a forensic accounting master's degree, and we could use that if that type of work came up in our investigations. So public administration related, we just kind of left it a little more open. And then if a candidate were to have a non-related criminal justice master's degree, we would offer them a $600 incentive. So those are cumulative. So it'd be 12, 12, and 12 if someone has a criminal justice master's degree. So they could potentially get up to a $3,600 additional incentive on their base pay. And again, I'll quickly touch on these other ones. Intermediate certificate through North Carolina Department of Justice, 1,000. Advanced certificate, 2,000. That's cumulative also. So if you have your advanced, you'd get 3,000. FTO, 1,500. An officer designated on the Southtown Special Response Team, 1,000. Accident reconstructionist, 1,200. Bilingual, 1,500. Certified criminal investigator through the Department of Justice, 15, and then a resident in the town limits of Stallings, 2,000. And then last time we talked, tweaking that educational component that increased the cost of this to be a little bit over $4,000. So the total cost with increase for insurance and benefits, $60,800. We do have a vacant position. It's been vacant since last April. That's one of our vacancies that we are still working on filling, but using lap salaries, we feel like we can fill this or launch this incentive plan for the remainder of the fiscal year. But we would need council support to approve funding for the remainder of the fiscal year using the lap salaries, but approve funding for next year in the next fiscal year. So that's the plan in a real quick overview. Are there any questions for me?
Yeah, Chief, could you go back to the chart, please? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
On the bilingual, who would certify that they're bilingual?
So that is one of the pieces Karen and I have talked about, and then the assistant chief and I are talking about. They would have to find, they just couldn't say, hey, I speak Spanish, so I'm bilingual. We'd utilize something through probably the South Piedmont Community College or one of the local community college to give them a proficiency exam to verify that they meet that standard of being bilingual.
Okay, that's good, because I took Spanish in high school and I made a D, but that wouldn't make me certified, so.
Absolutely.
All right.
I know hola, that's it.
All right, thank you, Chief. Any other questions for Chief?
Two quick clarifications, if I may, Mayor. Chief, I get human resources are sort of our most expensive line item, and they should be, I think, in any organization. But the compounding is often an unanticipated consequence of this down the road. But remind me, is this, for instance, $1,200 for an associate? Is it added on at the end of the year to their base, or all right, let me see if I can say this correctly. Will their cost of living increase go on top of a $1,200 base? And does this repeat the following year? Help me think through that again from a budget perspective.
That's a very valid question. No, that's why we keep using the term stipend or incentive. An officer will have their base salary according to their pay grade. And that's their base salary, and that's their salary. Then they get, this is on top of it, but pay raises are not factored. These amounts are not factored into their pay raise. It would be whatever pay grade they're at. That's their salary. That's what their pay raise is based on. And this is, again, we call it a stipend or an incentive, and that just goes on top. Again, a lot of departments for these programs use percentages. And, HR Director Williams and I talked about it just being simpler to use flat rates, because two people could have the same certification, but if they've got a couple more years on, then their percent could be higher. We just felt like a flat rate was more fair and equal. But no, this does not factor into their.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. And then the last point, not a question, but just as we go through the budget season, it feels like ARPA funding could be a source for a couple of years of this. Such a small number, critical care, emergency, medical, public safety, feels like that was an eligible expense for the ARPA funds. But we can talk about that in the budget, not to prolong the meeting, but that'd be nice.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brian.
Absolutely. And Aaron and I have had a quick discussion about that, but I know they're still hammering out the final rules. And if Aaron wants to jump in and clarify anything, she's more than welcome to. Not to put you on the spot, Aaron.
No, you're good. Councilmember Richardson, that is our understanding as well, but I would suggest, like you said, council, talk about it during budget because obviously after those years are up, that funding would be gone and then council would need to budget that. So just something to keep in mind that ARPA funds do end, and then it would need to be added to the budget for council if you approve this. But yes, we can talk about different ways to budget items because with the new rulings, it appears that you're able to supplant the budget. So it may be an option that council might consider that you go ahead and put this type of thing in the budget, but you use the ARPA funds to do projects since you can supplant. So just a thought, different options there.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Brad. Any other questions, discussion?
I have a quick one.
Yes, Graham?
So Chief, it looks like you've looked at how our neighboring towns, the incentive plans they have in place, are they facing the same problem where they have vacancies right now?
Yeah, that is the ongoing problem. And that's not just in this area, that is statewide. Having come from Alamance County, I knew that, all the departments in Alamance were struggling, Guilford County were struggling. I mean, this has been an ongoing issue. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Training and Standards only certified 1,500 officers statewide when years before, in the previous years, had been in the 3s and 4,000s. That's kind of when this whole thing started. But yeah, all departments have vacancies. I think I talked to the chief of Mint Hill, and I want to make sure I'm using the right. I think he's close to being down 8 police officers, and granted they're a little bit bigger than we are, but not a whole lot. So yeah, everyone is facing this issue, and we're all fishing in the same pond, trying to get the best candidates to come to our agency.
So then,
Oh, excuse me.
Uh,
Yeah.
so then essentially we're competing with these other police departments who already have these incentive plans, and we're basically behind 8 ball or power curve on it, right?
I don't want to, I say we're kind of leveling the playing field is what we're doing. I know talk to the chief of Mint Hill frequently. They had just bumped up some of their incentives, and then everybody else started doing it. So he was like, well, my incentives aren't as valuable as they were 3 months ago because everybody else is trying to play catch up. So I think, again, looking at those exit and stay interviews, people like the culture of the department. They like the direction it's going. So this little added piece, I think, will entice folks to stay, but I also think it'll entice folks to apply and want to come over. So yeah, I think we're putting ourselves up towards the top of the field, in my opinion. But in the end, it'd be very helpful.
Well, Chief, your comment is, but you want the best, and that's what we want. We want the best you can get. So I appreciate you making the change on the masters. And so I recommend us approving this. So what's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion that we approve the plan as incentive plan as submitted by the chief.
I second.
All right, motion by Mr. Scholl, seconded by Mr. Hall to approve the submitted police department incentive pay. Aaron, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. District 1 Hall,
Aye.
District 2 Shoal,
Aye.
District 3 Drake,
Aye.
District 4 Grooms,
Aye.
District 5 Ayers,
Aye.
District 6 Richardson.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
Just like to say thank you to everyone on the council for your continued support of the police department. Thank you.
All righty. And to follow up what Brad said, can I get a motion to suspend the rules and add the agenda item to consider
So moved.
an alternate, from planning board up to a full member? So motion is, Mr. Scholl makes the motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, we don't need a second on that. All in favor, say aye.
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 All righty. And so Heather or Stephen, did y'all want to talk about this? Or David being the planning board liaison? Take the,
Do you want to, David?
I had, you were talking to her today, weren't you?
And while they're getting up, Aaron, could you pull up a list of just the planning board membership? I think it might be helpful for the board to kind of see that and the open spots as they kind of make this decision.
yeah, it was in Mac's presentation there.
I can pull it up if you'd like, Aaron.
Yeah, if you got it handy, Max, because you had it in your presentation.
It's okay, Mac. I got it. Thank you.
All right.
It's confusing with Mac and Max.
All right.
Can you guys see that? That was what was in Max's presentation.
I got it.
Okay.
Everybody see
Great.
it?
Yes.
Yeah, so even though Lori's term expires March 31, she's like Max said, and David, she's been at every meeting, and we'd like to make her permanent. So any discussion?
No.
So can I
She
get a
has a
motion?
background in planning, I understand. Is that what I,
She was a town
Donna?
planner up in New York.
fantastic. Okay.
So can I get a motion to move Lori W up to make her take her from second alternate to the vacant seat 1?
So moved.
All right, motion by Mr. Scholl. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hall. Aaron, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. District 1 Hall,
Aye.
District 2 Shoal,
Aye.
District 3 Drake. Aye. District 4 Grooms,
Aye.
District 5 Ayers,
Aye.
District 6 Richardson.
All right, so the motion is approved to move Laurie W. Up to a full member of the planning board. So thank you, Heather, Stephen, and David, for staying on top of that. All right, next up is number 5, code enforcement issues. And I'll turn it over to Max, the A fence ordinance and possible demolition of parcel. Yeah, so I'll turn it over to Max and
Colleen will be presenting this,
Right.
but I'll be support.
gotcha.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Hi, Colleen.
I neglected to, can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
I neglected to get pictures and I apologize for that. So I need you to picture a fence with segments falling down, a fence that was stained red at one time that has more brown showing now versus red stain. And also picture a vinyl fence that's totally full of moss as we go through this.
I'll go take a quick picture of my neighbor's fence if that'd be helpful.
Please let me know. Our Stallings development ordinance has for commercial properties for repair of fences. So I've cited commercial developments, commercial businesses for repair of their fences. There's nothing in the town ordinance that covers the repair of residential fences. I would like to have language added to chapter 93, which was public health and safety matters, to add in under number 20, that all fences shall be maintained in good condition, including but not limited to paint, stain, and repair of damaged portions, rusted metal, holes, loose components, and sagging fence portions. Does anyone have any questions for me? Need more information?
I'm just looking it up online here, trying to see if there's anything else that I made notes on. Hold up.
Mhm. Thank you.
All right, anybody have any questions or discussion?
I do have one quick one. When we talk about paint and stain, what's going to be our criteria?
So if the fence was already painted or stained, And that paint is to a point where it's looking zebra-like or tattered beyond what it should, then they'll be sent us a notice of violation to say either paint it or stain it.
Okay, so they won't get a citation immediately. It would just be notice, and then if nothing
Correct, yeah.
happens, okay.
Yep. No one receives a citation immediately. They're always given by the ordinance a 10-day notice of violation. On something like this, I may send them a courtesy notice to say, you've got 30 days to do this. And if they need more time and they call me back, they're always granted more time within reason.
Okay, thank you.
So this is the only change to the ordinance?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Colleen. Any other questions or discussion?
Sounds good.
All right, let's, can I get a motion on fence, the fence ordinance change? Let me get it to the top. Oh, I can't get it to the top. I have to get on mine. Can I get a motion on ordinance amending Code of Ordinances, Title 9, General Regulations, Chapter 93, Public Health and Safety Matters, Public Nuisance, Section 9301.
Does that 20 need to be read into it?
Yeah, go ahead and read. Whoever making the motion, go ahead and read number 20.
I'll make a motion to, so moved for Wyatt's, what he said, and adding section 20, all fences shall be maintained in good condition, including but not limited to paint, stain, and repair or damaged portions, rusted material, metal, holes, loose components, and sagging fence portions.
All righty, motion by Mr. Scholl,
I'll
Second.
second.
motion seconded by Mr. Ayers. All right. Aaron, motion is to approve this ordinance amendment. And Aaron, could you read the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. District 1 Hall,
Aye.
District 2 Shoal,
Aye.
District 3 Drake,
Aye.
District 4 Grooms,
Aye.
District 5 Ayers,
Aye.
District 6 Richardson.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it, support the change to this ordinance amendment. All right, so we got the possible demolition of parcel 07102034B. And we might need, I don't know if we have a picture or a map.
I do, sir. I have a presentation here to present on that.
All right,
I just need to bring it up. So the background history on this is the town manager was asked by the mayor to look at the demolition of the building at 12008 Stallings Commerce Drive to find out the condition of the building, whether or not it fell under chapter 155 for non-residential building and structured standards. So I did do an inspection on that building on December 2nd. No issues were found with the building under that chapter. This is what the building looks like. It doesn't look very pretty, but if you take the boards off of this building, all the windows are intact. You could sweep the asphalt off and just have the power turned back on and the water turned back on, and the building would be functional. So there was nothing found wrong with this building where it couldn't be used right away again. Then I've done an aerial view of the building as well. So going along with this, I did ask I asked 5 companies to do quotes for me for the tear down. 3 companies responded back to me, and these are the 3 quotes that were returned back to me. There has not been an asbestos survey done in the building. So that asbestos survey and the information where it says testing scheduled for Friday, January 21st is wrong, because that was changed to, should have been today, but the gentleman called me, sent me an email late Sunday saying he had COVID. And I sure didn't want to meet him today. So we're hoping to have that done this week on whether or not there is asbestos in that building. The cost of the survey is $600. And if the building has asbestos, it's $10 to $15 per square foot. It's a 1,200 square foot building.
All righty. Thank you, Colin. Oh, well, go finish. Go
All
ahead.
right, pros and cons is the building blight would be gone, the lot would be cleaned. The cons is that it would be an expense to the town, and money is available in the planning budget under beautification. And that was the reason for setting that money aside, was in case things like this happen where the town wanted to beautify an area and it was approved by council to do so. And then it would be no cost to the property owner.
And I believe you've talked to the property owner. They have, they've
I
agreed,
have, yes, yeah,
and they've agreed to allow us to demo it.
yes,
Okay. All right. Anything else, Colleen?
no,
All right. Thank you. Any questions for Colleen or discussion? I'll go ahead and tee it up a little bit. As Alex and I ride around, and we've all passed this building many, many, many times, especially us to live on this side of town. It's just ugly. David and I were at the hospital Friday, looking out their front windows towards that intersection, and one of the first things you see is this building with the blue roof, and what is it? It's got boarded up, and it just just looks awful. So I'd love for somebody to come along. I asked Alex one question that it's been sitting there vacant for quite a number of years, and I was wondering, has any developer contacted us, or are we close to selling, as the owners close to selling this property? Or what, Alex, did we find out anything?
Yes, sir. I spoke with Mr. Shong, and we haven't had anybody contact us about this property recently, sir.
Gotcha. Thank you. So it's just up to the council. That's my proposal, is to take the cheapest demo and get rid of it. Try to clean up that site.
Colleen, I can't do the
Yes.
math. What would if there's asbestos there, what would be the total cost, additional cost?
The total additional cost would be about $10,000. If there
What
was
was it?
asbestos in the whole building. I haven't talked, his name is Chris Barnett. He's the one that I had contacted to do the survey. I don't know if it can be done by spot type of asbestos, where it would be, if it was in the ceiling, it would just be the cost of the ceiling. So those are questions that I would need to have answered.
Well, Colleen, this is Brad. What was the owner's? You talked to the owner of the property?
I did,
Mr.
yes.
Carrington?
Yeah.
What was his general thoughts of? Here's where I am on this. I thought it was. I get the idea of beautification, and I'm familiar with using public dollars for that purpose. It's allowable. It's legal. I just have a little bit of an issue with doing someone else's job. I know you would, as mayor, you thought about this as well. So I'm not saying something you don't know, but I've been involved in matching grant programs where you'd share the cost with an owner for facade improvements or demolitions or those type of things. What caught me funny was we're just for beautification gonna foot the whole bill at no cost to him, and he's probably got $1 million piece of property there. So I'm torn on this one. I guess my question then was there any other option presented to him beyond full town paying for this, or was there a cost sharing arrangement proposed?
The only piece that I broached him with was that the town would take care of the cost, and that was based on information I was given.
Yeah, no, I get it. What about the asphalt? We're not, you drive by, there's a lot of asphalt there.
I
The
checked.
asphalt would remain.
The asphalt would not
Right.
remain. I've checked all these quotes, including the pad the building is on, and the asphalt would all be taken up.
I'm sorry, the cost includes removal of asphalt from the site, the whole parking lot?
Yes, yep. complete grading of the whole parking lot. And that's in each demo quote.
Wow.
And it also includes the pad the building is on.
And then what would be left behind? Grass seed sown, I assume.
I could ask for that to be added in.
No, I'd rather us go back to the demo companies and ask them, what's the quote, just removing the building, not the asphalt. You know, the asphalt keeps the grass out, and then, you know, then when somebody, he's gonna have to mow it. And so I'd rather just keep the asphalt in the pad, and just the building's just unsightly to me.
I agree, and in my heart, I want it gone too. So I'll support this because I think it's a good thing. I would wonder if we couldn't pause for a second, get a quote on what it would be without asphalt removal. See if the owner would share the cost of the asphalt removal. And then a good question is, this is a former service station, so what's under the ground? Are there storage tanks?
I have the documentation where the tanks have already been pulled.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
And since we don't own it, we're not looking at environmental studies. Okay.
Well, I
I
agree.
guess
with-
that's, yeah.
And I agree with Brad. Let's pause and, you know, it sat there for a long time. We're in no hurry. Let's get it right. So let's, Alex and Colleen, can we go back to the owner? I mean, back to the demo companies and ask for a bid without removing the pad and the asphalt? And
Removing the pad,
what's that?
without removing the pad the building's on?
Yeah, I would leave the pad there as well.
Okay.
That's just a concrete slab. And
We
then,
go back to the owner and see about sharing cost of this, if we're gonna do this.
right.
I'm like Brad, I'm not sure I want to spend it on this, but it is ugly and it's not a fortune, but it is one
Well,
project.
yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, beautification is a valid use of public dollars. I'm not saying it's a wrong idea. I'm just saying I
I'm
just
not
had a
saying
quote-
it's a wrong idea. It's just, it's benefiting one person's property, not an area of the town. You know, it's not like we're doing the sidewalks trimming all along, you know, the new landscape contract. That's benefiting a large area. This is benefiting one corner, one particular owner in particular. I'm torn with it. I see it all the time too. It's ugly, but
Yeah, that brings up one more question. Alex, you might know this as well. I don't think Bo's here, but the DOT's landscaping plan is for the median, of course, in front of this place, but also don't they have plantings designed for the right of way on these four corners? And then I wondered, in context of this discussion, would some beautification happen with landscaping on his property in the right of way? So again, may not know the answer now, but
Yeah, the right of way is barely on his piece of property. I know we don't have the map right here, but it's, you know, it's barely on there. So I doubt the state's going to do anything, just a few plantings, you know, on a few feet of his property.
okay.
But yeah, let's suggest, just to rehash that again, we're going to go back to the demo companies, tell them we need a price with leaving the asphalt and the pad in place. And then we're going to go back to the owner of the property and see if they'll cost share in that any amount. Tell them, you know, they're benefiting from it as well. It makes their property, you know, to a developer, you know, they can see the property better. So it's a long shot, but we might as well ask.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
And this kind of goes to David and Brad, kind of from a economic development standpoint. I mean, the hospital, you know, there's always been talk from an economic development that once the hospital is open, that could spur more development in that corridor. I guess my question would be, in general, is that, and I don't know how far or how close you guys are to this. I mean, could we, my biggest concern would be is we would end up spending this 15 grand, and then 5 months from now, a developer comes in and wants to buy this property because the hospital's open and suddenly there's a lot of interest in that corridor. Can you guys kind of, I mean, is there one or two sentences there that would shed some light on what we think might happen once the hospital is open and how that could potentially affect this property? And maybe you don't have that information. I'm just asking
No,
from an economic development point.
That's a good point. And, we're in no hurry, but that hospital's been on the books for what, almost 2 years, and there hadn't been a single inquiry about it. So
Okay.
are they wait? Am I in any hurry to get it down? No, we could wait 4, 5, 6 months. In my mind, I'm not in any hurry to spend tax dollars on it either. But I'm just assuming it's not going to be developed soon. So.
Okay, I just want to know if maybe, if I know that David and Brad have met with Chris Cote. I didn't know if maybe he had kind of given kind of a idea on when things typically do develop and kind of some timelines around that there. And so I didn't know if we were ahead of that curve or behind that curve, that kind of thing.
Nothing that specific and targeted, Steve. So I think it could sit there for another 5 years.
I don't
know. Yeah.
That's fair. I just wanted to ask the question.
Yeah, Colleen, when do you retire again?
My last full-time day is Friday.
Oh, so
Holy moly.
I have talked with Alex and Karen and Max to agree to stay on part-time 2 days a week until a new person is hired so that I can try to help train them in as well.
okay. So you can help somebody with this or get Max involved and.
Oh,
all right.
yeah. I'll
Yeah.
take the lead on it.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
Colleen. Yeah,
Thank you.
Colleen, you will be missed. I
Yeah.
say that publicly
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
definitely.
Thank you for your service and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
So that's what we're gonna do. Let y'all go back to the demo company and then talk to the owner and see if he'll share some of the.
But by then we'll know about the asbestos cost too, whether it's negligible or 10 grand.
Yep.
Mayor, if I may, just to confirm, so 2 steps. First, we're going to go back to the demo company and get the price of leaving the pad in place and leaving the asphalt in place. Hopefully that'll be less. And then secondly, see if the property owner is willing to do a 50/50 cost share. Is that a fair summary?
You broke up a little bit on the second point, Alex.
I apologize. The second point would be to go back to the property owner and see if they would entertain a 50/50 cost share on the new price.
I wouldn't offer 50/50, just say we'd like a cost share. We'll go in, if he says, sure, I'll go 75/25, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We're more likely to do it.
I'll leave it up to y'all to negotiate whatever you can get out of it.
Exactly.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Yeah,
So,
Greg.
have we done this type of activity before?
No,
Okay. And then are we going to get any sort of, one things I would like to see is a hold harmless from the owner. So, we're the one that would be potentially bringing on the demolition service. And if something, God forbid, happened and their insurance or bonding did not cover the full cost, I would hate for it to come back on us. Just something to consider.
all right. Alex, could you talk to Melanie about that?
Yes, and as a lawyer, I want to say, Mr. Hall, I appreciate that question. We'll definitely make sure there's a hold harmless agreement in place. And if there's not, I would recommend the council not move forward with this project.
That last part of your sentence got broken up, Alex.
I apologize. I would say that if the owner would not agree to a hold harmless agreement, then I would not recommend the board to kind of move forward with this project.
I would agree.
All right, got it. All right, thanks for the conversation on this. All right, next I'll turn it over to Alex for the annual retreat agenda.
Alex, you're muted.
Man, I sounded so intelligent with what I
It was
was.
good. It was great. It sounded
Great.
great.
But
You looked good at least.
thank you, sir. So as part of our new council transition plan, some of the desired outcomes include making sure we have a shared set of priorities and goals on the council level, and making sure all council members feel heard and respected, and hopefully growing relationships there. And a big part of those, that process to achieve those desired outcomes is the annual retreat. In preparation for the annual retreat, Mr. Walton has reached out and had conversations with many of the council members. He's been very complimentary and appreciative of the board's time and the insight he gained. And we've seen some common themes, some common priorities that are the same, sometimes across all council members, sometimes amongst the majority. And he's in the process of synthesizing and organizing those things. And in the near future, he should be sending that out well ahead of the annual retreat. So there certainly won't be any sort of ta-da moment or a surprise. But what we've done is Mr. Walton and I and Ms. Nichols have worked with Council Member Grooms and Council Member Richardson to kind of finalize a draft kind of skeleton agenda, if you will, for the retreat. So the mayor we'd ask for him to lead us out on a welcome and purpose, do some introductions and opening thoughts. We know that everybody doesn't know everybody too particularly well in some cases. So just to get to know each other, talk about the outcomes we've talked about. And then I would give an update on 2021 priorities. Where are we at? It's important to also see how far we've come, what we need to work on, what we've succeeded on. And then from there, work on the central themes, the key priorities, have a facilitated discussion with our elected officials, discuss next steps with the priorities, have a working lunch, and then followed by, again, going down the other priorities achieved, then talk about key success indicators. What does success look like for us? Talk about priorities and resources, and then close. So it's a lot in a little bit of time, but we're hopeful that we can achieve a lot if we're focused, and we're certainly putting in a lot of legwork. In addition to the retreat, we've had several facilities booked in the area, but each one has been canceled due to COVID restrictions. So what we talked about with our work group was holding it in the lobby of the government center. And that way we can get out of our normal where everybody's sitting, even though it is close. But otherwise, you've got a nice, good setup. Everybody can kind of spread out. You've got AV if you need it, and just a good kind of casual environment to have this important conversation. So I would request the board to approve the agenda, and of course, happy to answer any questions or concerns that you may have.
Did you say Kurt had a chance to talk to all of council members?
Yes, I believe everybody's been given the opportunity, but I believe almost all have talked with Kurt. So.
All right. Pretty important that he speaks with all of us.
All righty. Any suggestions to Alex? All righty. Alex, we don't need to approve it. Shoot.
Okay, if everybody's good with it, as long as there are no people disapproving these annual retreats, they're very important, and I want to make sure that there are no surprises going into it. So if everybody's good, I'm good, and we can move forward.
Yeah. The main purpose is, as I've talked to Alex about, is just get priority straight to discussion going and see what the vision of our town is for the next few years. So thank you for putting this together, Alex, Heather, and Brad. And And I think that's it. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shoal, I believe, seconded by Mr. Ayers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? All opposed? All righty. Thank y'all. Good night.
Bye, y'all.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, thank you.